Welcome back. Well, let's get more now on the decision by the Reserve Bank today, the Monetary Policy Committee, increasing interest rates by 50 basis points to 4.75%. In some ways, interest rates are still very low historically. But in a situation where many people are battling to get enough money to buy food, where we've lost 2 million jobs, is this the right decision or not? I must just tell you that in this debate, pick an economist, you'll get a different view. Dr. Dick Forslund is the senior economist at the Alternative Information and Development Centre. Dr. Forslund, good afternoon to you. How do you view a decision like this when you look at the economic situation the country is in right now? Is it the right decision to raise interest rates by quite a significant amount?
Good afternoon to you and the viewers or the listeners. No, I don't think it's the right decision. I mean, it will again siphon off sort of billions of rand to the financial industry, and it will depress economic demand in the domestic economy when we have a sort of official unemployment rate of over 35%, and by the expanded definition now reaching around 48%. So I don't agree with this decision. I know that it is informed by effort to curb inflation, really by affecting the exchange rate of the rand towards the dollar. But I wonder what the Reserve Bank will do if the oil price, which now is about $110 per barrel, what if the oil price is 130, 150? And there's even some sort of prognosis, even if it's a minority of the people doing it, but people are speculating that the oil price could be 170, 180, 190 dollars per barrel. Will the Reserve Bank increase the interest rate accordingly? If you ask that question, then I think you should see that this is the wrong method. You can't do it like this.
I mean, this is an argument around interest rates that the left and the right have had for many, many years. To completely oversimplify the positions, many people on the sort of what's described as the left, rightly or wrongly, suggest that interest rates should be very low. People on the right say that inflation is a much bigger concern. Now, isn't this really the issue? The response to you from the right would then be that inflation really, really hurts poorer people. The poorer you are, the harder it is for you to buy food. If you do not tackle inflation, the price of bread goes up very dramatically and you have people literally starving. Wouldn't that be the argument against what you say?
Yeah, of course you have to strike a balance, but South Africa have among the highest interest rates in the world already. And I mean, you have a lot of even working class people who are using credit cards or shopping cards, etc., or who have a bond on their car, and now they will pay maybe 100, 150, 300, 400 rands more per month. And that will it will not go to a good cause, so to speak. It will go to a bloated financial industry. So you have to strike a balance. But I mean, my question is, what will happen if you are trying to sort of fight inflation by making it cheaper for South Africa to import oil? What will happen if the war in Ukraine is still going on and if the oil price is starting to increase again? You can't continue along this path. You have to examine other isjours. And of course, it's also part of the debate about the social grants and the basic income grants. How will you deal with poverty and what is hitting and the hunger hitting some parts of the working class now? How will you deal with this sort of in a decisive way? You can't always sort of pamper the interest of the finance industry, because this is essentially what this is about. So I don't think that the Reserve Bank is striking a balance. And I think that this is a policy which will hurt the local economy, and it will also make unemployment rise further, because you have to have a domestic demand in the economy in order to have it going again. So that would be my answer to that.
I mean, all of this goes back to another question, which is the Reserve Bank is really their job to manage that. They manage the situation. They don't make government policy. Literally everyone has been asking for structural reform for many years. The arguments around all of that continue. I was already going to give you a chance to talk about social grants, because I do think that that debate is only going to increase and intensify over the next little while. What we've seen is that so many people have lost income that perhaps the most important thing is to make sure that people have some money and nobody in this country starves. We're nowhere near close to doing that. Do you think a basic income grant would make that much of a difference? Which, of course, takes us to the argument about at what level a basic income grant makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it also raises the issue of redistribution and about taxation. I saw this proposal by Fedusa to abolish the fuel tax, or to sort of prolong the abolishment of the fuel tax now for more months, because of the expectation that the petrol prices will increase more, and then the fuel tax exemption will expire in June, and that will add another over 3 rand to the price per liter. Well, you can do that, but you have to talk about then also what the fuel tax means for the income, the revenue of the government. So you have, from the taxation of the fuel today, you have over 90 billion going into the budget, and the fuel tax is around 55, 56 billion of that. So you have to then balance that also. And then, well, the fuel tax is a kind of bad tax because it strikes equally over poor and rich. And so it strikes sort of proportionally worse against the working class. But then you have to balance such a reform or such a measure with the increase of personal income taxation and the corporate taxation, which the government decreased by 1 percentage point in this budget, which again will forfeit 8 to 10 billion rand from the fiscus. So I think the situation as a whole, and with these inflation rates also, which by the way is hitting even officially harder against the poor households. There now officially the inflation rate is not 5.9% as it was reported yesterday or the day before. It's over 6% or 6.4 or something like that. And you have the institute in Pietermaritzburg who speak about the household food basket, which year on year have a price increase of over 8%. So it raises the issue of the taxation of the minority rich in the country and the personal income tax. And so does the proposal about abolishing the fuel tax or letting the fuel tax be like this, or taking it away for 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, maybe until the oil price crisis is over. So the issue of redistribution is the pertinent issue, I think, in this whole debate.
Dr.
Yeah, that's, I think, it's where the discussion should be going.
Dr. Dick Forslund, thank you very much indeed, Senior Economist at the Alternative Information and Development Centre. Do appreciate the time.